Alright guys, I'm going to go deck first and then how I did at the tournament with it second. So 3 Doom Dozers. Doom Dozer is a 2800 attack insect monster, and when it inflicts damage to the opponent in any way, they mill the top card of their deck. It's not really a great effect, but it can be special summoned by removing 2 insects. So that's kind of the big play with it. You can easily special it with this deck. It's got 2600 defense too, so they can't just book it and then attack over it. It's a big monster. Next is Aztekapede, the Worm Warrior. He does pretty much the same thing as Doom Dozer, but you only have to remove 1, and he's only got 1900 attack. Same mill effect, but he's only got 400 defense, so he can be booked and ran over really easily. So big plays can be made if you have a nice graveyard with insects in it. Next is Koikimira Beetle. It's got 1900 attack. It's got the effect that when a dark or a light monster is special summoned while he's on the field, it gets switched to defense mode. So it can kind of like mess with Blackwings and some of the other decks a little bit, like Zorn. But overall, he's more of just a beat stick, and you have to show an insect in your end phase to keep him on the field. You can choose not to get this card in the graveyard if you need to make a play with it next turn. There's a card called Verdant Sanctuary. I'll talk in a bit. That when a face-up insect monster is destroyed, you can add one of the same level to your hand. So you can let him destroy himself, so you can add another one, or that's take a P to your hand or something. It can set up Solidarity. It can, that effect can actually be used to your own advantage if you don't necessarily need them on the field. Next is Howling Insect. It's like a masked dragon for insects. You can special summon defense mode. So when I played Jinzu Returner guy, pretty much he Gold Sarked for Future Fusion. I knew it was coming, so I was able to set Howling Insect and wall for all the attacks. Next turn, drop Cyber Dragon, contact, push, and attack for game. So it also dumps insects because it is walling off for us, and they just keep on attacking into him, filling up a graveyard. Next is Magical Merchant. I feel like the card is kind of inefficient because I'm not running as many monsters as I should to warrant 3, but it is an insect, and I did want to have them. It gets a spell or trap to your card because when he's flipped, you just mill cards until you get a spell or trap, and you add it to your hand. All the monsters go to the graveyard, so it fills up your graveyard with insects for Aztekapede and Doom Dozer. So he was good, but I feel like I need more monsters in the deck to really warrant him. I just had 2 copies of Insect Warrior, just a generic 1900 beater. He could also be searched off Verdant Sanctuary when any of my level 4s get destroyed, so not bad. Then I tried to get cute with Spider. It's got 1500 attack. It's a 4-star. When it destroys a defense position monster, you can special summon a level 4 insect from your graveyard and add it to your field, special summon to your field. And, it was kind of productive because I want my insects in the graveyard for the most part in this deck, and it was kind of a bad tech. There's a card called Armored Bee coming out. It's kind of got like the Kulit effect, where once return, this is actually different. Once return, it can half the attack of an opponent's monster. It's got like a 1700 attack, so I'd probably switch these out whenever Armored Bee comes out. I'm not sure when it is coming out, but it's going to be pretty good. Next is 2 Book of Moon. I figured I could stop a bunch of normal stuff that you could with it. The different applications in the deck would be that you could Book of Moon a target and then attack over it with Spider, or abuse Magical Merchant. Nothing too special about it in the deck. 2 Verdant Sanctuary, and like I said, this is kind of what lets you be competitive with insects. I probably should have ran 3, but because their effects do stack. But when a face-up insect monster you control is destroyed by any means, you can add one of equal level from your deck to your hand. So there was a situation at the tournament where I had a Doom Dozer, an Aztekapede, and a Koikimira Beetle, and they Dark Hold while one of these was up on the field. So I just got to add all those cards back to my hand and make the same exact play next turn. It was actually kind of funny. So I might go up to 3. I might keep it at 2. I'm not planning on running this deck too much more. Just kind of the just for fun, have it on the shelves type thing. Sometimes your friend will have or someone that was getting into Yuko is like, oh, I have this badass Crystal Beast deck, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, if I play one of my good decks against you, I'm just going to rape you. So let's go with insects. So that's, you can kind of use that same thing if your friends just have just for fun decks. If they want to make a Jurak deck or something and you just don't want to wipe the floor of them. Juraks are going to get better. They're not better yet. So anyway. 2 Solidarities allows us to deal with pretty much any synchro there is, except for Cataster. And monsters that can't be destroyed by battle kind of give this deck some fits. So, but anyway, it lets us attack over almost anything. It turns our Aztecapedes into 2700s, our Insect Knights to 2700, our Doom Dozers into 36. So, lots of power, lots of ways to swing for game, like normal, normal Quakemeter Beetle, special Aztecapede, special Doom Dozer type things, and that's a ton of damage with Solidarity. 2 MSTs. There's not a lot of inherent destruction in the deck. There's actually none with the insects. So you have to be able to destroy stuff on the field, obviously, other than just like attacking. So you need to run 2. That's the same reason I'm running 1 Smashing Ground. I could probably get away with running 2, but I wanted an out to Cataster or Spirit Reaper or something, Armor Master if I ran into it. Dark Hole, Trunade, Cold Wave, Monster Reborn, Pot of Avarice. Pot of Avarice was kind of like a last second addition. I figured I want my insects in the graveyard so I can special with them, but in the off chance, I actually only used this once yesterday out of 6 matches, so it's okay. It doesn't need to stay. 2 Bottomless, just keeping that field presence. 2 Skill Drain. This could easily be like Deep Prison or something if you want a little bit more of a like field control type thing, but I like negating people's effects because the only thing this really touches in the deck is Quakemeter Beetle and Magical Merchant, because, you know, Howling Insect activates in the graveyard, and then Aztecapede and Doom Dozer's effects aren't really anything to be happy about. So anyway, Torrential Staple. I feel like this is a staple in the deck because you are removing, and you can actually kind of plan out what you're removing. Remove those 1900 beat sticks, so you can make a big play, go attack. If they let a big attack go through, you're pretty much safe to flip this over, and then just attack for game from there. And then Solemn. It's the most expensive card in the deck. You can make the rest of the deck for like $15, if that. So we'll go back through the deck. I'll talk about my. I don't really want to talk about my side deck, but I will anyway. The side deck was put together last minute, so if it's not perfect, I apologize. This pretty much was all decided. I was going to actually run this last minute. I could have ran my friend's Black Wings, and I was really close to doing it, but I just took the fun route. So, all right, Cyber Dragons easily won me the Machina matchup, so everyone knows what he does. Anti-Machine. Kinetic Soldier was a dumb decision to put in because I'd have to take out Solidarity. I wouldn't have to, but I would take out Solidarity and put them in. And, you know, Solidarity makes my monsters big, which is the problem that Six Samurais kind of had trouble getting over big monsters, or at least that's what I heard. I don't really know much about them, but Kinetic Soldier, I never even faced any Six Samurais, but I had them just in case I wanted to get cute. 2 Noblemen, just for spies and Rykos and stuff like that. I would slide them into the decks that I knew were using them. Yeah. 2 Dust Tornado for the Gravekeeper matchup, so I can get that Necrovalley off the field. Necrovalley absolutely destroys this deck, so I did lose to GKs because I couldn't get Necrovalley off the field. The rest of his deck was kind of weird and not really built. I don't want to say it wasn't built correctly, but it wasn't built standard. It was kind of a weird build, but Necrovalley was on the field, and that's all you really needed. Also hits gateways and stuff. So this was for the Formula Monarch or Frog Monarch matchup. Never ran into any. Never needed it. Those monsters can be tributed at any time. Rivalry, only one type of monster, so like insects or warriors or anything can be on the field at once. So it really hurts decks that use more than one type, like a Formula Monarch or a Plant Synchro. Same thing with Goes and Match, but it's attributes instead of type. So only lights. The deck only runs Earths except for Magical Merchant, which is a light, and I really don't need that on the field anyway, and I can play around it if I really needed to. So that was the side. Shining Back Sea. Once in the graveyard, you can remove it to destroy a synchroed monster that was just synchroed for. I had 1 Maxi before the tournament, but I ended up selling it because I like money. Anyway, that's the deck. If you want to know how I did, I went 3-3, which is kind of respectable because I did beat Black Wings, I did beat Machina Gadget, and I did beat Plant Synchro. The decks I lost to, I lost to a Black Wing, I lost to a Plant Synchro, and I lost to Gravekeepers. I started off 2-1, and then I went 2-2, 3-2, then 3-3, and then I dropped so I could go do the Win-A-Mat tournament, which I was late for anyway. So that kind of sucked, but I had a good time at the tournament. I was able to keep up with Tier 1 decks. The Plant Sinker I ended up losing to. I felt like I was really screwed over by the judge. Essentially, the judge kind of told him that he could Book of Moon. Okay, here's the situation. The guy special summons a Cyber Dragon, and he wants to go for Caius to get my Gozen match off the field. So he says, tribute for Caius. I was like, you can't tribute for a different attribute when Gozen match is on the field. He's like, yes, you can. The tribute happens before the monster hits the field. We call a judge over, and the judge agrees with me, of course, and then he goes on to tell the guy, but like if you flipped it face down with like a book or something, you could still do it. And I wasn't aware that they could say stuff like that. So the guy was like, oh, okay. And of course, as soon as the judge leaves, he books it, tributes for Caius. Caius removes my Gozen match. Next turn he goes Debris, Dandelion, Black Rose, the field. I had a well-established field. I was going to win. And then he Monster Reborns his Black Rose Dragon and attacks for game. So, GG judges. I honestly don't know if they're allowed to do that. I don't know if I could have complained. But, you know, the guy I was dueling wasn't being a douche or anything. And not that that means he should be allowed to be told by judges, but what was I really going to do? Like, I can't give a guy, or try to get a guy a game loss because the judge helped him. I could probably got that head judge to go over there or something. But I don't know if they're allowed to do that. So again, I really didn't care too much, but I thought that was kind of shady of the judge to do. Yeah, the extra deck was pretty much just standard stuff in case I needed the Monster Reborn a tuner for a game push. The only thing I ever summoned out of it was a Chimera Tech Fortress against the Machinas. So, yeah, those are the insects I've been talking about, guys. They're really not bad. It's a really good matchup against your friend's shitty decks, or if you just want to mess around with a $20 deck. You could add 3-Potted Duality and Solemn Warnings to it, and it actually would be able to hold its own pretty well, because I was able to hold my own without them. I'm not saying you're going to beat top-tier players with top-tier decks with it, but, you know, there's a saying like, what is it? A professional with a professional or a really skilled person throwing a rock will beat a noob with a gun. Meaning, if a guy can throw a rock like a amazing distance with really hard, can kill a guy with a gun who doesn't know how to work it. So, a guy running a tier 3 deck who knows how to play the game can beat a guy running a tier 1 deck who doesn't know what the hell he's doing. So, you know, you can try it out just for fun, just to troll your friends. I'm not going to say I was trolling the event. I went there with the intent to possibly get a feature match, which might have happened if I had kept on winning, but I got that loss and then the one right after it, and I knew that wasn't going to happen. So that's the deck, guys. If you have any questions for me, just put them in the comment. I'll try to answer anything. I'm not playing this much longer. I'm going to be building Black Wings until my Dragoonities are legal, and that is that. Ulti Doom Dozers look sexy.